What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. This video is a demonstration and an explanation of what PC build I'm running. It's basically a sleeper build. It probably cost me around 300 quid, and I just thought I'd make this video just to show people that you can make a gaming PC under £300, as I've seen a lot of people mention on YouTube and that you need to spend like 600 or 700 just to get a standard budget gaming PC put together, which I think is incorrect. I run Elder Scrolls on the PC on medium to high settings, and it runs absolutely fine. I don't have any trouble with this setup, and I'll show you the full setup. I'll show you inside the case and everything. So let's get right into it. So I'll show you the device specifications, which shows you what I'm actually running on the PC. So I've got 16 gig RAM, which I've installed, and I've got a Intel Core i5. I think it's a 6th gen CPU, so it's a very old and basic one. I'm running a 64-bit operating system, and it's running Windows 10 on it. So I will also show you what graphics card I've got in there. This is the box. It's a GeForce GTX 1050 Ti. So that's what I installed in the box. So I'll go to the case and I'll show you what I've got inside. Pop the lid off like that. So this is inside the case of what I'm running. As you can see, it's a very basic setup. It's just an old office PC that I purchased on eBay for, let's say, 70 quid. I've fitted the graphics card in there. It was a bit of a squeeze, but I got it in there. And I installed 2 sticks of RAM, 8 GB each. And I also put in a new power supply. And also I have an SSD, just to make things a bit quicker. Yeah, so that is the actual setup. I don't have a CD drive. I removed that as there was a bit of a room issue, but I don't use the CD drive. So the power supply is a 300 watt power supply. So the old power supply I think was about 150 watts, so I swapped that out. That was only about, say, 15 quid, and you need a more powerful power supply to run the graphics card. So that is the original processor, and then obviously the original motherboard that came with the PC. So it's donkeys old, so I haven't tampered with that or done anything with that in any way. And like I said, I've got the 2 8 GB RAM sticks, which would probably set you back around, I think it's 30 quid. I've actually got a budget list as well that I'll show you guys, so you can put this all together nice and simply. Yeah, the RAM should be around 30 quid. And the SSD, this isn't actually my main SSD, I've got a main one here, but this is what an SSD will look like. I've got a 1 TB, and they'll set you back about 60 quid. So yeah, so I installed the graphics card. I did have to do a bit of damage to try and get it in, so it was a bit of work there, but just used a pair of pliers just to break the back in a little bit to get it in, and then it fitted in fine. There's also, if you can see, right on this side, there's a power supply for the graphics card, so that will run from the power unit, because the graphics card, this particular graphics card, needs its own power supply. You might get a better view of the RAM here. Yeah, that's a good view. So yeah, I said they're two 8GB sticks. I put them in. There was probably, I think there was about 4GB or 8GB RAM on the PC originally, and it was running a old-fashioned just normal hard drive. I think it was a terabyte, or it might have been a bit less than that, but I've stuck in a 1 terabyte, sorry, as my main, and that was just a little side one I've got. I've also got a little Bluetooth dongle at the front just for a wireless keyboard and mouse, but that's totally optional. So yeah, that's the whole PC setup. I have it flat because I know the cables are a little bit close to the fan, but I don't have it standing up. So, but I've been running this setup for like 2 years now. I've had absolutely no problems. It can only run Windows 10 because of the processor's really old. So I will be upgrading the motherboard and processor soon. But this, as it stands, it can run most games. I mean, it's not going to run things in 4K, you know, all ray tracing and all crazy stuff, but it runs Elder Scrolls absolutely perfectly fine. I've got no trouble with it. Another game that I run is Hello Neighbor 2. That runs okay because that's a slightly newer game. I do tend to play older games as well, like Baldur's Gate, so they're not obviously as graphically demanding. So we'll just show you the list of the budget. So I've just called it the budget sleeper PC build, so that anyone can do. So just grab yourself a cheap office PC on eBay, you know, with around similar specs, you know. Just make sure it's a slightly larger case if you can, just because of the graphics card. And that'll set you back around 70 quid. And then obviously buy yourself a power supply, because probably the power supply in it is not going to be sufficient. So try and get at least a 300 watt power supply. I said they'll set you back around £15. I've slightly overestimated these as well, just in case they are a little bit dearer than what I've said. And obviously grab yourself two 8GB RAM sticks. Just make sure you've got the correct DDR. I think they're DDR4, my ones, and that'll set you back about 30 quid. And the most expensive thing will be the graphics card, of course. But just go for a 1050 Ti. Obviously, if you're on a budget, they're around £100. I think they're even cheaper now. And that will play most games. It's a bit of an old card, but it still does the job on, like I said, medium to high settings. I don't have any lag problems. The only lag I get is from Elder Scrolls itself. But the game and the system runs fine. And the final thing is an SSD. Which is, I would recommend getting a 1 terabyte, as you have plenty of room then, and that will set you back around 60 quid. So the total, I would say, is about £275, so well under 300 quid to get yourself a nice gaming PC set up. Because like I've said earlier in the video, that I've seen people saying, oh, you need to spend 500 or 600 to you know, get a decent, at least a basic gaming setup. It's not the case at all. I've got a bog standard office PC. You can see at the front it's just an old-fashioned one from probably about 8 or 9 years old. And like I said, it does the job fine. So the original parts are the motherboard, of course, the processor, the fans are all original. I don't have any overheating issues either. That's plenty of cooling for that. It's nothing too demanding. Like I said, the sticks are not original, the RAM sticks. The storage drive is not original, and the power supply is not original. So all you need to get is just power supply, 2 sticks of RAM, graphics card, SSD. So I said it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts in total. And just grab yourself an old office PC. But like I said, I recommend to get one that is a bit of a better size, if you can, just because some of the graphics cards can be a bit chunky. That's the only room issue. The power supply, I think they're all about the same size. You can get smaller ones, but they're going to be dearer. And like I said, this is what I run Elder Scrolls on PC with no problems. I know it's a bit of an older game, so I suppose if you did purchase a state-of-the-art game like Baldur's Gate 3, it might be pushed to a bit of a limit. But I bet it will still run it on lower settings. And obviously someone might say, you know, well, what about a PC monitor? I'll just plug it, I'll just go to the back of it. The only two things I actually have plugged in is this is the back of the graphics card, so the HDMI. I just plug that directly into my main TV. So it's just another HDMI. So you don't need a PC monitor. And of course your power supply. That is the only two things I have plugged in. Everything else is wireless. I mean, obviously, if you want to go cheaper, you can just grab yourself a cheap mouse and keyboard and you can have them wired. I've got 2 USBs on the front and 2 on the back, but I've just got a little Bluetooth dongle. And another thing, if you're not using an Ethernet cable to run your internet and you need Wi-Fi, just double check inside the case. You see that little green card there with the screw? That is the wireless adapter. So make sure your PC's got a wireless adapter, because you don't want to be buying wireless adapter cards, because you'll need 2 PCI slots, and obviously one is already used for the graphics card, so I can't do that. I'm saying that actually there next to it might be that black thing underneath. It might actually be a slot for a PCI slot, but it's incredibly tight fit, and it's just easy to make sure that you've got one of those. Or like I said, if you don't, it's not a problem. Just plug directly in cable to the Wi-Fi box. Yeah, so there you have it. My PC budget sleeper build for gaming, under 300 quid. Nice and easy parts to install. It's very user friendly to install, because the power supply is literally it's 4 screws, so one there, one there, one there, and one there, and it will just pop out. There's just a little catch. You just slide it out, unplug everything, plug it all in. Graphics card again, it just pops and plays. I just had to do a little bit of work at the back just to get it in, because it was a bit of a tight fit. Again, the SSD is easy. Just mount it, put the cables in. This one's not actually mounted. It's mounted, sorry, it's not actually plugged in, that one. My one's sort of buried there. I've got an old Mac hard drive there that I need to pull some stuff off, so I'm not actually using that. Again, just pop your 2 RAM sticks in, make sure they're the correct ones for your board. Yeah, and that's it really. Nice and simple. So just to add a bit of clarity out there, that you don't need to spend an absolute fortune, because obviously I was originally on console on Elder Scrolls and wanted to move to PC, and I was worried about, oh, is it going to run it? It runs it totally fine on that setup, cheaper than a PS5, even though probably a PS5 would be more powerful. But if you want to get a PC, it doesn't cost the earth. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you've got any comments or queries on my setup, or if you need any advice, just give me a message or a comment. And if you like this video and find it helpful, drop me a like, and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in this sort of stuff and it's helpful to you. I'll be doing lots of other guides and stuff with PCs and that, because I will be upgrading the graphics card and probably the motherboard. I might be doing, instead of buying a new PC, I might just get a new motherboard and CPU, and maybe just upgrade the graphics card. I'm quite happy with the RAM. The power supply should be okay as well. So, or I might be getting a new case. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet really. I'm just going to see how it goes, but this is fine. I could use this setup for another year or two, no problems. So I'll see you in the next video.